So a lot of people want to buzz off their hair because they think that's going to last them longer. And in theory, they're not wrong. A buzz cut will last you longer, but here's what most people don't realize. When you buzz your hair down with a guard, you're also revealing every single dip, every single uneven spot in your skull, literally everything. That's why buzz cuts look clean on some people and terrible on others. I'm sure you've seen people around and you're like, hey, why did you do that? Why did you let your barber give you a unwanted haircut? Okay, so before I go short, I always recommend a crew cut, like literally always, because once the hair is gone, it is gone. You can't add shape back, you can't add texture, especially with hair like this. Straight, lightweight, not thick, not thin, but just very, very airy hair. This type of hair doesn't hide mistakes, it exposes them if they're cut wrong. So a crew cut lets me keep the hair short without fattening it, without exaggerating the head shape, and without locking in someone into a bad decision for about 8 to 16 weeks. Yeah, I know, a buzz cut will last that long, especially if you don't like it and it sucks. So the cool thing about a crew cut is if you still want to go shorter, cool, we can always go shorter, but you cannot undo a buzz cut. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process. I'll show you how to approach a proper crew cut, how I control shape, remove weight, add texture without flattening the head. I'm also going to break down the lineup process, how I keep it sharp without pushing the hairline back. And then I'll show you how to build the high taper behind the ear and the right way, so it blends clean, lasts longer, and actually fits the entire haircut. So if you stick around, I promise you this, you're going to walk away more confident with a cleaner system and a better understanding of how to give your clients cleaner, longer lasting haircuts. So let's get into it. So this right here is my client. It's actually my nephew. So before I cut anything, the first thing I do is I fully comb his hair out. I want to see how it reacts, where it bends, if there's any natural parts, and how it wants to lay. Realistically, this is the longest I've ever seen his hair, and me and his mom were actually brainstorming because she felt like it was way too long and she wanted to keep some length, but it was just too long. That's why I recommended a crew cut before going too short, or a buzz cut. A crew cut gives us control without committing too fast. A crew cut is simply this: whatever I can grab with my fingers is whatever I'm going to cut, but I'm also adding texture at the same time. That way the hair still has movement, and when it's styled, it doesn't look flat or stiff. But I'm also assessing while it's wet, because wet hair tells you the truth. His hair is fairly straight, and the good thing is it naturally wants to fall forward. So it just makes my job a lot easier at this point. So the first section I created is the mohawk section. This becomes my first guideline and the blueprint for the whole entire haircut. I section it out about a comb width, and then I make my first incision, sending in my initial length. Whatever I can grab is whatever I cut. Don't overthink this, okay? I follow the guideline all the way through, and at this point I switch over to point cutting. I want as much as texture and as much as movement as possible, so the hair moves naturally, even without product. Once the mohawk section is set, I move on into horizontal sections on one side of his head. This is zone 1. I follow that guideline all the way to the front. I don't move on until this whole entire section is complete. You'll notice a lot of point cutting here. That's intentional, so get used to it, okay? This is how you keep short hair from looking flat and you give it life. So once that's done, this is where the head shape really comes into play. My nephew Bruce has a wider head shape, more of a heart-shaped head shape, very narrow up the bottom but wider up top. With the head shape like this, you have to control the width. If you leave way too much weight on the sides, especially around the parietal ridge, you're going to make his head look wider. So the goal here is to soften up the area as much as possible. By doing that, I take horizontal sections around the parietal ridge, and by working to the natural contour of his head. I'm not cutting straight across, I'm following the shape of his skull and removing the weight where it doesn't belong. As I move towards the back, his mom did mention that this area was way too long. So I did take off a good amount of length here, but I still follow the same crew cut principle. Whatever I can grab with my fingers is what I'm going to cut, and I'm adding texture at the same time. I continue working vertical sections and point cutting extremely aggressive to create movement. That way the back doesn't sit bulky and it doesn't look flat when it's styled, and it grows out a lot cleaner. This will keep his mom happy because the length is under control, and will keep him happy because he keeps the mullet.
Interstate swinging, interstate
So once the crew cut is established and everything is connected, this is where I move into the high taper. The first thing I do is I set my base using my number 2 blade. I work behind the ear. Think of this taper as a faded sphere sitting on the side of your head. It needs a shape, not just a blend. Once my base is set, I move into what I call a true half. This is a 000 blade, which is essentially the same as a lever clipper fully open. I set my next line about a finger width below the 2. After that, I move into my 1 guard open. This is my 1A blade. This step is all about softening. I'm blending the 2 into the half very gently, not rushing at all here. Once that starts coming together, I move on to a lever clipper. I grab my 1.5 guard fully open. This is where I use lever play, and I blend the 2 into the half blade smoothly. Then I come back into the 1.5, more lever play, just refining and tightening everything up together. There's an important rule here. When you're blending, use your corners only. Don't dig, don't force, just don't overthink this, okay? After that, I switch to my clipper, no guard, lever open, and I use corners only and clean up any dark spots left behind. Then I close the lever all the way to soften up that bottom line to tighten up that taper. And I make sure I'm working fully behind the ear. That's what's gonna make the mullet pop and keeps the haircut looking intentional and not accidental. Now that the fading is done, this is where the haircut really comes together. You can start seeing it form. I move on to grabbing my wall high vis, and all I'm doing here is just removing excess hair that doesn't belong. Don't overthink this part. And after that, I move on to my shaver. This will increase the contrast from lightest to darkest. One of the important things here is I'm not driving the shaver all the way up. As I move higher, I'm dabbing, not pushing. That prevents lines and keeps the blend smooth. So here's a pro tip when it comes to shears. If you want a softer finish, you want to make sure that the thinning teeth are on the outside. That gives the refinement without leaving marks.
She said we better off as best friends.
Once that is done, I'll point cut slightly with my thinning shears just to knock out any dark spots that I still see. Then I come back to my high vis and I'll end up behind the ear. The key here is to preserve the natural line up in the back. Don't push it up. When you respect what the client already has, that's what keeps clients coming back to you.
I can be your friend, do you wanna do that? Talk about me to your friends, I'm like, well, yo, do that. Be the best you ever had, you already know that. I'ma treat you like a queen, looking like, who that? That's just my bestie. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't need that extra stress, that's just my bestie.
So moving on to the lineup. For the front lineup, I stay with my Hawal high-vis. These are a powerhouse for lines. I cannot recommend these enough. I always start right in the middle. Bruce has a very strong natural lineup, so I keep a little bit overhang at first. That way, if I need to adjust it slightly, it never looks pushed back. The middle section becomes my first guideline. From there, I work all the way to the right side. On the left side, it does have a cowlick, but this is where the experience matters. The cowlick isn't working against us. It actually creates a natural S-curve into the hairline. So instead of fighting it, I follow it. I mirror what I did to the right side and connect it cleanly to the left side. Now for the styling portion. I start with Fatboy Styling Cream as my base, working it from ends to roots. Be generous here, especially with the mullet. About a nickel size for the top and the back.
I'm on besties time. We already know what the deal is. She said better off as best friends. Ooh, what's a best friend? Can you let me know what it mean to be a best friend? That mean on the next man. Here we go, better run one time for the best friends. Best friends, best friends, one time for the best.
Next, I go in with the diffuser. So here's a pro tip. Don't let the diffuser touch the head. Keep it moving, scrunch your hand, and stay on medium-low heat. It just depends on what the client can take. Once the hair is semi-dry, not fully dry, I finish with Fatboy's Flexible Putty. This will add hold while keeping the flexibility here, which is exactly what we want for texture. This is why I like the crew cut, especially for kids. They're short, clean, low maintenance, but still versatile. Maximum movement equals maximum control. And here's the final result, guys. If you guys watched to the very end, I really appreciate you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. This is a crew cut with the clean high taper. I did add some enhancements in the front, maximum texture up the top, and controlled length in the back. You know what they always say, right? Clean in the front, party in the back. This is exactly why I recommend a crew cut over a buzz cut. A buzz cut might last longer, but a crew cut gives you shape, texture, and versatility without exposing every dip, every bump in your head. This style grows out cleaner, looks better longer, and gives you way more options when you style it. If I had this hair texture, honestly, I'd rock it myself, but I don't, so I live through my clients. If you have this hair texture, try it out. Let me know how you like it. And if you want this haircut, you can book me through the link down below. And if you want more tutorials like this, comment which haircuts you guys want to see next, and I'll see you guys on the next one.